because that's what leadership is about. It's about solving problems. It's about coming together, collaborating with other people to find a solution. You have to be solution oriented if you're a leader. And if you are already finding yourself thinking about solutions more than you're thinking about problems and complaining about them, leadership might be for you. What's going on, aspiring school leader? I am Dr. Donovan Smalls II, and welcome to Beyond the Classroom. I help aspiring school leaders land their first leadership role, navigate complex dynamics, enhance communication skills, and drive instructional excellence. Today's topic is 5 signs you're ready to be a school leader. Thinking about this topic, I think, just having conversations with aspiring school leaders, sometimes the struggle is, or the dilemma is, am I actually ready to be a school leader? What are some signs that I can really lean into as it relates to being a school leader and knowing if I am ready? And I submit that you'll never actually know if you're truly ready for something, right? You think about some of the most amazing things that you've ever done in your life, the great accomplishments that you have. Sometimes they are on the other side of you actually being prepared, right? Sometimes you might not be as prepared as you would like, but if you continue to just walk in faith, a lot of times it works out in your favor. However, I think that there are 5 signs that can lead to you coming to the revelation that you actually are ready. And so as we go through our 5 signs, I want you to do some self-reflection, and I want you to think about, do these signs resonate with you? So number 1, you're already leading without the title. And you hear me say this a lot, right? As an aspiring school leader, you have to remember that leadership is not necessarily tied to a title. You can be a leader in your current role, even if you are teaching your students in your classroom, right? There are ways that you can figure out how to lead on a broader scale, right? Leadership isn't about a position. It's about your posture. And what I mean by your posture, I'm talking about you being someone who is in the business of serving. Leadership is service. You are in the business of serving when it comes to you being a leader. So how are you finding ways to not only support your students, but how are you finding ways to support your colleagues? How are you finding ways to support the mission, the vision, and the core values of your leader, your principal, your supervisor, whatever the case is, right? How are you bringing people together to accomplish the vision? These are all things that you should be thinking about in terms of you leading without the title. Because a lot of times when you don't have the title, it gives you the flexibility to explore different areas of your leadership prior to stepping into the role, right? And so colleagues may be already coming to you for advice. You might already be taking initiatives in your school community to plan trips, to plan projects, to figure out how you can bring in guest speakers, right? Are you already doing these things that may lead you to believe that you are ready for school leadership? Because maybe you are already naturally stepping into leadership without having the title. So number 1, you're already leading without the title. That is a great indication that you are ready to be a school leader. Number 2, you see the bigger picture. When your vision grows beyond your classroom, your impact is ready to expand. So you might be teaching in your classroom, getting amazing results, but you are now noticing and realizing that, hey, I want to be able to scale the results that I am getting in my classroom so that my impact and my influence can expand to other students and to other teachers. This is a great way because this is a great way for you to see that, okay, maybe I am ready for leadership. My perspective is changing. My thinking is changing in the way that I am ready to increase my influence and my impact. One of the unique areas I think that I was able to kind of understand about myself as a leader, right, to really know and believe that I'm ready, is because I was a health and physical education teacher. And with that background, I was able to see if not every student in the building, right? Most students in the building, because health and PE is a required course in the state of New Jersey. And so me seeing the results that I'm getting, not only in my classroom, right, in terms of instruction, seeing that, and then wanting to scale those results, seeing how my leadership impacts a large amounts of students, right? Seeing how it impacts my colleagues, that led me to believe that I was ready for leadership, because that's what leadership is. It's being able to galvanize other people to be able to come together, get the results that we are looking for, but then to expand those results and not just get them in the classroom that I am currently teaching. It's how can I work with other people so that students can achieve at high levels. So you're starting to see the bigger picture. You're starting to see that, wait a minute, the results that I'm getting in my classroom, they also need to expand to other classrooms. And that's not to say that you're being arrogant, right? You're looking at the data. You're looking at the results of your students and you're noticing that they're achieving at high levels, and you're saying, I can't just allow this to happen in my classroom. I have to see how I can increase my impact with other people. So number 2 was you see the bigger picture. Number 3, you're solution oriented. Leaders don't just spot problems, they spark progress. I truly believe that there are 2 types of people. There are people that complain about problems just to complain about them, just so that other people can hear what they have to say and what's on their mind. And I'm not knocking that, right? If that's the way that some people deal with issues, have at it. However, I also think that there's another group of people who may express the problem, but they also come with a solution. And you might be noticing that you are more solution oriented as opposed to problem oriented. Like, you don't just wallow in the problem. You try to actually work toward figuring out a solution because you want to make things better. And you might notice that you are solution oriented. And if you do notice that you can't just sit idle and complain to your colleagues, but that you actually are seeing that you need to do something about it, right? You need to figure out how to collaborate with other people to solve issues. If you notice that is you, then you might be ready for leadership, because that's what leadership is about. It's about solving problems. It's about coming together, collaborating with other people to find a solution. You have to be solution oriented if you're a leader. And if you are already finding yourself thinking about solutions more than you're thinking about problems and complaining about them, leadership might be for you. You consistently look for ways to solve issues. You have ideas and you're eager to implement them. Again, you have ideas and you're eager to implement them. That's not to say that you don't express how you feel about certain initiatives and certain projects that are being implemented in your school. But it's to say that if you notice that there is an issue, you're also coming with a solution. You're not just saying, well, I don't have access to X, Y, and Z. You're also coming up with a solution on how you can maybe gain access, right? So you're trying to figure out ways to solve problems. So number 3 is you are solution oriented. Number 4, you're passionate about developing others. If you're called to grow people, you're called to lead them. That's what leadership is also about, right? It's not just about you developing yourself, reading books, going to conferences, and coaching other people. It's also not coaching other people, right? That would actually be a part of developing others. But you're passionate about not only developing yourself, but you're also passionate about developing other people. That's what true leaders do. They coach and they mentor, because that's the difference between mediocre leaders and high-level leaders who are getting results. It's not just their ability to develop themselves, but it's their ability to develop other people, and that's what makes them highly effective. I never want you to forget that. That's the difference between going from good to great, right? Jim Collins talks about that in his book, Good to Great. You go from good to great when you develop other people and you're not just thinking about yourself all the time. You are not a person that is self-serving. You're thinking about how you can serve others, and that is going to take your leadership to the next level. So if you are passionate about developing other teachers, mentoring new teachers, leading PLCs, leading PD, and helping other people grow, if you notice that that is you, right? You are noticing that you're not just focusing on the development of your students, but you also want to develop adults. If that is you, then leadership might be for you. It might be time for you to step into leadership. So number 4, you're passionate about developing others. And lastly, number 5, you feel a persistent nudge. When the tug toward leadership won't go away, it's time to pay attention. You know that gut feeling that you have when it comes to you stepping into leadership. It just won't leave your mind, right? You just constantly are thinking about, okay, what's next in my career? I'm getting amazing results where I am, but how do I scale this and take it to the next level? And you're thinking about it, and that thought just won't go away. It may be time to do something about that. Because guess what? There is a school community that needs you to step up and to take your rightful place as a leader. And I don't want you to get discouraged by people who are thinking about you not having enough teaching experience, right? Some people believe that you need to have at least 10 years of teaching experience in order to step into leadership. But I reject that notion because that implies that years of teaching experience equates to the impactful leadership or the impact that you are going to make as a leader. And I disagree with that, right? I don't think that teaching experience necessarily equates to effective leadership. I think that you never need to, I think that you don't need to leave the posture of a teacher. I think you always need to serve teachers. I think you always need to collaborate with teachers and don't fall into an egotistical way of leading. I believe in that. However, some people might be better leaders than teachers. Right? Some people might be able to coach and mentor other people to achieve their goals greater than they were able to kind of get students to achieve at high levels. I think that, yes, they go hand in hand. But if we look at it in other sectors like sports, right? How is it that you have coaches who have never played at the highest level, who will never be as great as LeBron James, as great as Michael Jordan was, as great as Kobe Bryant was? However, they were able to tap into a level of coaching and mentorship to get them to achieve at high levels. But when it comes to different areas like education, we don't necessarily think of it in that way, right? I think we need to start expanding our mind when it comes to coaching and mentorship and leadership, right? Specifically in education. So if you feel that nudge, I don't want you to ignore it. I do want you to begin to block out the noise of other people and follow what's in your gut. Follow what's in your mind. Follow your beliefs, right? Into doing what it is that you believe that you were called to do. Whether it's internal motivation or confirmation from others, you felt a pull toward leadership that won't go away, and that nudge is just getting louder. So again, it might be time for you to step into leadership. So today we went over 5 signs you're ready to be a school leader. Number 1, you're already leading without the title. Number 2, you see the bigger picture. Number 3, you're solution oriented. Number 4, you're passionate about developing others. And number 5, you feel a persistent nudge. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone else so that we can continue to impact as many aspiring leaders as possible. Because we want aspiring leaders to step confidently into school leadership. We want them to be promoted right into their rightful place of leadership if that's what they believe that they should be doing. And ultimately, we want great leaders. We want aspiring leaders to transition into great leaders to help improve student achievement. As always, I hope you have a great week of teaching, leading, and learning. Take care.
I love that you talked about mindset, because mindset is extremely important as you become a school leader. And so that leads us into our second complexity, which is navigating the learning curve, right? Whenever you are promoted to the next level in your career, you will always begin as a novice. So it doesn't matter that you are an effective classroom teacher, you have raving reviews from your students. Becoming a school leader is a different skill set. And so we need to start teaching aspiring school leaders that it takes a level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness to understand just because you got results doesn't mean you're going to get results here. You need to work at this. And so one of the things I constantly think about is the fact that the learning curve can be steep. As a teacher, I'm walking into the building with a set schedule. As a leader, I might have a set schedule if I'm planning properly, but it might immediately become obsolete as soon as I walk in the building. The learning curve that I had to navigate was I'm walking in the building with my bags on. Teachers are firing questions at me. I haven't even made it to my desk yet. How am I navigating that? With being tactful.